Yes, good morning. I'm all wrapped up. It is very chilly today. I've got my rip coat on. If you didn't see, I fell over during my last run, but there's other new things that I'm looking forward to reviewing today. Yes, we've got some more Lush body sprays. Now, they had their Boxing Day sale recently, and Lush Boxing Day sales are crazy. There's a queue, so you can't even get on the website normally for about 5 minutes. And by the time you get on, it doesn't matter if it's 1 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the evening the next day. It is literally everything sold out. I never know how much I really believe them. But there were 3 body sprays that were available, 3 that I'd never owned before, so I'm really glad that I was able to pick some of those up. And it was this one I picked up, so it's called Blue Skies and Fluffy White Clouds. That's a very big name. It's not very memorable. I don't even remember it after about an hour. But this is one that I've never smelled before. The other 2, my brother's own, I've smelled them before, which I'll be reviewing over the next few days. This one was a complete first. I've only sprayed it a couple of times, and literally just now, I think I've sprayed about 8 sprays in total with this fragrance since I've had it. And yet, I'm really looking forward to reviewing it. It's almost as much a fitness fragrance review as an initial impressions video. So if you haven't seen my fitness fragrance reviews before, essentially I do a morning workout. So I go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while reviewing this fragrance. We rank it on 5 categories, giving us a total score out of 50. So we look at price/value for money, versatility, its projections, how much I noticed during my run, and we do a room spray test later on, so I'll spray my room, see how much the fragrance essentially fills up the room. We'll look at compliment factor, do I think it's a compliment getting fragrance, and then we'll look at longevity. So before I walk to the gym, I'll spray my arm, and then about 3 hours later, after I've done my workout, I'll have a shower and everything, smell my arm again, see if we can still detect the fragrance. So that's what we're going to do today. Each round is scored out of 10. Before we do that, we're going to talk about the note breakdown. It's a very small note breakdown. Lush haven't given you a lot, so I think I'll keep this one pretty short. Okay, this is the most simple note breakdown you'll ever see, and I've just had a little look because they give you the ingredients on the back. There's one note they haven't actually mentioned in this, which I assume must be a big part of this fragrance. And I'll just tell you what I roughly detect. But what it said, I'll just read a little bit of info on the front. Hush the rush with grounding frankincense, that's one of the main notes, bathed in meditative rays of patchouli, spritzing you to a higher plane. So frankincense and patchouli are the main things here. But also on the back, it does say there's cinnamon leaf oil. So maybe there's a little bit of cinnamon also in there, but they obviously don't make a big thing about it. And what does it really smell like? Well, it is the frankincense and the patchouli. The patchouli brings this really nice earthy scent, earthy feel to the fragrance. I must admit, it's definitely really I think when you look at the name Blue Skies and Fluffy White Clouds, it reminds me of a stormy day. It's like a stormy weather in a bottle, almost like, and it's not quite like this because there's definitely a bit more of like a green vibe to the fragrance. I don't know if that's coming from the frankincense or what, but when the rain sort of comes down and hits the concrete, that wet concrete smell with a bit of patchouli earthiness, it's a bizarre fragrance. It's not one that you'd expect from Lush. When you think of Lush, you think of really typical sweet gourmand type fragrances. This isn't sweet at all. This is green, this is earthy, and it's got that slight spice which I think is coming from the cinnamon. But it's a unique scent. Like I said, it reminds me that you maybe at the beach, some wet rocks, the rain's landed on it. Maybe more of a forest actually, I should say. So again, I'm changing my opinion because it just literally is a first impression. I think you walk through the woods, a bit of rain, and that's what it smells like. It's that like initial feeling of the rain mixing with the green that's on the ground, the grass, the pine, whatever it is that you're walking through. And yeah, it's a very interesting scent. I'm really interested to see today how it sort of materialises through my run. But that is all there really is in terms of info. So what I'm going to do, get myself all stretched, try not to run into any lampposts or anything today. And yeah, we'll do the first 2 categories on my runs. We'll look at the price/value for money for this, not the discounted price I got it for, I must say, and also the versatility, how much you can use it in different situations. Let's get out there. Okay, so it's not just a new fragrance today. I've got a new running accessory, a phone holder vest. Yes, it's actually a lot better because honestly, the amount of times I dropped my phone running, I did need something like that. But anyway, price/value for money for Blue Skies and Fluffy White Clouds. What a name. So we're talking around £30 for this body spray, which is in line with a lot of the Lush sprays. They're all around that price. You get some that are a little bit cheaper, some that can be a little bit more expensive than that, particularly the collaborations. So if I was blindfolded, what do I think I would pay for this? I'd probably say about £30. I'd probably say Lush has got it about right here. But where I'm a little bit unsure on the price for me is it's not what you expect from Lush. It's not really got that wow factor. When I think of some of their other sprays, Sticky Date, it's all about that benzoin resinoid. When you think of Lush Dirty, it's this lovely minty smell. And I just love how the name is a contradiction. It's minty clean and it's called Dirty. And then things like Rose Jam, it's so strong, so in your face with that rose smell. This one, it doesn't really have anything that stands out. Look, the patchouli's really nice in this, but it hasn't got that wow factor. It doesn't want to be noticed as aggressive as those other ones. The quality of the oils, though, as always with Lush, are fantastic. You know, you get real quality with the frankincense oil, with the cinnamon leaf, and with the patchouli. You can tell these aren't cheap oils, and they just do simplicity right in that sense. So in terms of quality, yes, but I think it really depends for you. If you're someone who likes those gourmand foodie smells which you normally associate with Lush, you may not like this one as much because it hasn't really got that. But on the flip side, if you're someone who wants something a bit different, something that actually smells, to be honest with you, a little bit more like a fragrance than maybe some of those others, then I think this is going to be absolutely great value for money. So what do we give that then as a score? I'll go 8 out of 10. I'm really enjoying it this morning, and as I said, it's a real change of pace from Lush. I think in that sense it's fascinating me more. I'm trying to reach for it a little bit more than I normally do, and as I said, that change of pace, look, they've not compromised on quality. That's the one good thing, and you cannot fault it for its quality. It's just, again, it's just a little bit different. If you're not expecting it, it does throw you off, just like the name. Anyway, on to versatility. Versatility, how much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, I'm going to start by saying I think this is completely unisex, straight down the middle. Look, it's not really masculine, it's not really smoky or strong in leather or rude or anything like that might make you think it leans more masculine. Yes, there's a bit of spice from the cinnamon, but it's nothing too aggressive. They don't even mention it, as I said. And then it's not really fruity sweet or girly either, you know, too soapy that you think, oh, it's a real strong women's fragrance. It's nothing like that at all. It's straight down the middle for me. Now, in terms of occasional seasons, let's start with seasons. I think this is best in transition seasons. I really do. Look, patchouli's a great note. It adds a bit of earthy depth, which certainly makes it lean more to a cooler day. But if it's a cool spring morning, or if it's, you know, full winter, but it's nothing too, you know, too icy cold, it's not going to cut through the cold or anything like that, it's going to be great. And I think when you talk about transition phrases, that makes them signature scent worthy. And for me, this is absolutely signature scent worthy. If you're in an office in a climate controlled conditions, it's great. And again, where it's not super sweet or super heavy, you're never going to get sick of it. So you could certainly wear this most days without feeling like, oh, this is too much. It doesn't maybe have that wow factor, as I said, that you might want if you're someone who's looking for compliments. But, you know, as an everyday type scent, and even for me running now, it's not bad at all. I think you could wear this to a job interview, dress it up, dress it down. It's not a really casual, relaxing scent. But when I say about like that feeling of wet rain, the smell of wet concrete, to a lot of people, including myself, I actually find that quite a nice, relaxing smell. So yeah, it's pretty versatile. That is what I'm saying. In general, I think for someone getting into fragrances, it's going to be a little bit of a step up though. It's a little bit more serious than you'd expect, and it's certainly a far removed from a Dior Sauvage or a Coco Chanel or anything like that. So in that sense, I'd probably say it's a bit more of a mature scent. 25 and up, people who know their fragrances, who are more into it, have tried a few over the time. Yeah, it just may take a little bit of getting used to. And I think in general, fragrances that do have that green vibe, that earthy vibe, they do take a little bit of practice to get used to, and you end up loving them in the end, like I do now. So I'm going to give versatility, we'll go 8.5. As I said, I think the only thing I'd mark it down for is, for a younger person, I just think it's going to be a little bit of a step up, and I do think it is quite serious and casually. It's maybe a little bit harder to wear. There'll certainly be other ones I'd pick over it, just because I think it's not as relaxed. It's a little bit heavier than maybe something you'd want on a nice sort of summer's day if you're going out with your friends, maybe a bit more citrus. But other than that, top scent. Anyway, when we get back, we'll talk about projection. How much have I noticed it during my run? Workout done, no dramas today, thankfully. It's now time to spray my room before we go downstairs and talk about projections. So if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to do 5 sprays in my room of blue skies and fluffy white clouds. Honestly, I keep forgetting the name. But what I'm also going to do in the meantime is just spray my arms. So in about 3 hours' time, it's 9:10 now. When I leave the gym, we'll just see how much I can still smell this fragrance. So I won't be reapplying it before I get home. That does smell good. It's fascinating me, this one. But anyway, what we'll do, come upstairs again in 10 minutes, see how much the fragrance has filled the room. But we'll talk about projection during my run. How much did I notice it today? Did I notice it at all? It was chilly out there, so you never know. Oh, I love coffee. So, projection during my run. How much did I actually notice this phrase? How much did I notice blue skies and fluffy white clouds during my workout? To be honest, not that much. I noticed it on the first half, but at the moment the wind's the wrong way around, so when I'm running back it's actually in my face, and I certainly didn't catch it at all with the wind. But again, I kind of expected that. It's not a sweet fragrance. I tend to find those sweeter fragrances obviously a little bit more cloying. Fruity fragrances can be in the opening, but I certainly noticed at the start, and the patchouli and the oliban or the frankincense, it's quite inky. It definitely got more of an inky vibe as it went on. Didn't enjoy it so much, and it was nice sort of green opening, and then it sort of did become a little bit darker, a bit more depth, but that just shows again the quality of the patchouli, and it's really brought a lot of depth to it. So you never know, it might fill up a room, but I'm not expecting it to be honest with you. I think this is going to be one that's going to just smell and stay on clothes more than anything. But yeah, we'll finish this coffee, we'll head upstairs, and then we'll give a score on projection. Okay, in we go. You can hear my mum and dad are talking, but how much can I smell the fragrance? I'll tell you what, a lot more than I expected. Okay, that is pretty strong. Now again, patchouli does bring a lot of depth, but it's not got that sweetness that I tend to find sticks in a room more. If someone comes in, they're going to notice it. Now, I think this one can be quite divisive actually. It's very dark, there's a lot of depth, and it's certainly getting more of that inky vibe now. Now I've come back inside as well. But it's mysterious, adds a bit of that mysterious vibe, a little bit like Tom Ford Black Oil. And Cell, not the same at all. There's this darkness about it. It's a real dark patchouli. And I think it says on the back of the Lush bottle, in the ingredient, it says dark Sumatran patchouli oil. And it really is dark. It's very, very inky, but interesting. It really is making me want to explore it more. And maybe that's a good thing. That is one sign that the projection's strong, though. Is I'm almost reaching for it, looking around. Where is that coming from? And it's certainly just filling the whole room. It's not just pushed into a corner here. People are going to notice this. The only thing I can potentially say is you may not necessarily feel that comfortable wearing it. For that reason, I'm just going to mark it down a little bit. I'm going to give it an 8.5, just because it's not one that I've had other fragrances that project really well, and I think they're not too daring. I'd be more than happy to wear that in a room with other people. This one, I think you've got to be the right personality. You've got to have a bit of that dark side to you, a bit of a gothic side to you, is probably what I'm trying to say. But if you do, and you dress in a nice smart outfit, I think this is absolutely fine. We're going to talk about compliment factor next anyway, so I'm going to head to the gym, walk down, and then we'll talk about it on the way down, essentially. I haven't obviously worn this before for compliments. It's the first time I'm wearing it, so it'll just be my general opinion. But yeah, of course, if we get any at the gym today, we'll always give compliment factor a 10. Why does my hood look so ridiculous today? I think it's my hair, it's just pushing it up. Anyway, compliment factor. Do I think blue skies and fluffy white clouds can get compliments? I don't think you'd buy it to be a compliment getting fragrance, and that's what I said, not what you expect from Lush. Lush fragrances tend to be all about sweet, fruity, high mass appeal type scents, and they're the ones that do really well. When you think of things like Sticky Dates, you think of ones like Yog Nog, Let the Good Times Roll, that sort of buttery popcorn type smell. This is just so far removed from that. And I think this is, again, another one where you almost have to be the right personality for it. You know, it's one where I think you do want a bit of that gothic side. Someone who's maybe a bit more dressed up. I said you could wear it casually earlier, but as it's materialised today, it's definitely become a lot more inky, a lot darker. I don't think I would want to wear this with a shirt, or certainly not in the summer anyway. Again, it's definitely more for that climate-controlled environment, you know, in an office where there's air conditioning. And even like a day like today, it's really cold outside. It's absolutely fine for that, but would I choose it? No, certainly not for compliments. I still want to have something a bit sweeter on a day like today. And again, it just lends itself to me more of those transition seasons when while I think they're signature scent worthy, and you can certainly wear them then for most of the year in different situations, it's never going to be number one for me. I'm always going to think in the summer, or even on a warm spring day, I'd probably rather take citrus, and even on a cool fall day, or even the winter, I'm going to want something a bit more vanillic, a bit more caramelly, which is, what you expect, what you associate with compliments more often. But again, it's never going to be too wrong in any situation. It just wouldn't be my first choice. So where does that put itself in compliments? A serious person who's well put together, dresses well, I think you'll get good compliments, but I don't think it has that wow factor in any shape or form. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, which is quite harsh. And look, maybe my opinion over time with this fragrance will change, but just from what I've experienced today, it's not grown on me any more than when I first smelled it. That's what I would say. It's one of those ones my brother has owned this one, but I never really smelled it before. It never, even when he wore it, it's never really been noticeable. It's never one I've gone, what is that one? Whereas some of his other fragrances before, I've just smelled it and gone, I need to know what that is, because even if I don't buy it, I want to know if I can get it in the future. This one doesn't have that effect on me, and I don't think it would for a lot of people. So yeah, 6 out of 10, but of course, again, any compliments to the gym, it doesn't feel like a gym scent either. We would bump it up to a 10. So workout done, no compliments. Just again, I've got my long sleeve on because of the temperature today. The fragrance is still there. It's really green and inky. It's the patchouli. I've never had a patchouli fragrance as strong as this. But this smells like a fragrance I've had before, and it's just so frustrating. No, you just can't think what it is. As I said, it's a like. It's just not going up for me in terms of to a love. It certainly doesn't feel right for the gym, but it is very dark. If you like dark green, mossy type fragrances, this is the one for you, because apart from that, the quality of this is super, super high. It's a really, really high quality fragrance. We know Lush do amazing high quality natural scents, and this is just another one that ticks that box. Even if it's not their general DNA that they really follow, this is a very different smell for them. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this survives the shower test. I think it's actually going to do quite well for longevity. So now the workout's done, I'll have a shower and then it'll be back essentially 3 hours since I've applied the fragrance. We'll see how long it's lasted, and then we can give a score. Okay, so we've just left the gym. It is 11:58, so I'm a couple of minutes earlier than normal. It is time to smell Mars and see what we can detect. Right, it's probably about 60-65% as strong as it was, so definitely can still detect the fragrance. It hasn't really changed in terms of smell. It's still got that very earthy patchouli type scent. It's just dawned on me actually what this smells like. I've been kicking myself for ages trying to work out what this is. It smells just like Davidoff Zeno. If you know Davidoff Zeno, it's an old school, I believe it's sandalwood in that fragrance as well, scent. But that is exactly what it smells like. I think that one came out in the 1980s, and it kind of links to what I was saying earlier. It's got a throwback vibe, this. It's not what you'd expect from Lush. And I'd probably just say this is a slight more modern interpretation of Davidoff Zeno, but it's very similar. If you told me this was a clone of it, I'd believe you. And I haven't owned that fragrance. My brother owned that one, so it's probably why it's taken me a little bit of time to work out what it was. But it's Davidoff Zeno, 100%. So if you know that scent, you like that scent, particularly older gentlemen maybe, this could be a great fragrance for you. Yeah, it's just not what I expected today. It's the first time I've ever worn this one, first time I've really ever smelled it, other than I think once I smelled it with my brother, but it doesn't stand out to me, and it's got good longevity. I cannot fault that. If you're talking 65-70% as strong as it was, when I applied it 3 hours ago, and I've been doing all the work, having a shower and everything like that, it's going to pretty much get you through the day. So yeah, you wouldn't need to reapply this, certainly not in the seasons when it's best, which is fall, winter. So it's going to need a good score for this. And it surprises me because, again, I always think sweeter fragrances do well, and sometimes these patchouli and woody scents have always let me down on performance and longevity. I'll go 9 out of 10. I think that's the highest score I've given it today as well, and I think that's going to be its real selling point here. It's got plenty of strength. If you like this scent, that's going to be a real positive. I've only marked it down because it's got a bit of that throwback vibe. For some people it might just be a bit too heavy, particularly in those transition seasons when it's getting a little bit warmer as opposed to getting colder. But what we'll do, we'll head back now, I'll count up all the scores, and yeah, I'll give my overall thoughts. Blue skies and fluffy clouds. I'm finally remembering the name. We are back. I am worn out today. How many steps have we done? So I have done 38,610, all while wearing this fragrance today. Blue skies and fluffy white clouds. So what was the total score? What did it get overall? Well, it's just creeped in to 40. It got 40 out of 50, which actually I think is a pretty high score because I don't feel like I've spoken that positively about it today. I've certainly had phrases that probably got lower scores where I've almost sounded more positive. But again, it's not really about me, and it intrigues me, this one. I think it's really nice when I do these reviews, particularly for myself, being a bit selfish here, when I don't really know the fragrance because I'm not going in with any preconceived ideas. And it's literally just been a case today, just smell and just assess what I'm getting, and it's definitely that Davidoff Zeno vibe. So if you know Davidoff Zeno, try this. Obviously, this is a little bit more expensive, but it does feel a little bit more modern, a little bit more wearable, maybe for a woman, as I was saying earlier. It's a little bit unisex, but I do think the more I've worn it today, it definitely needs masculine. It's definitely got a more masculine vibe to it. I think that cinnamon and it just gives it that edge. But it's all about the patchouli. It's all about the frankincense with this. It's a great fragrance in terms of. I like the fact Lush have. They've just released a fragrance here. This isn't trying to be a gourmand or anything like that. This is just meant to be something you'd wear that represents maybe a stormy day at home, and sort of that feeling of walking through the woods. And yes, and rain's landed on everything, and it's all the green moss and stuff. It's all just kicking up that aroma. You know that aroma, wet concrete type smells. It's that sort of aroma, and they've replicated it really well. And that's because they have high quality oils in this, that's for sure. So I've got a couple more fragrances from Lush that came yesterday as well. This one, Strawberry Feels Forever, and then a little 100ml because this came with a gift set, pumpkin spice. So I will do one of those ones next, and then the other one after. But I also want to reveal that I have actually bought some clone fragrances as well. I bought Dior Sauvage, yes, just the original Dior Sauvage, not the Elixir, which I've obviously still got. This is all from the Essence Vault again. I've also got Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce because I like the smell of Mont Blanc Legend. I want to see how similar that smell is because I've never had that one. Again, my dad's got Mont Blanc Legend at the moment. I really, really like it. And Colonia Essenza Aqua de Palma clone, which again, I love that fragrance. It is amazing. I want to see how similar that is because that would save me a little bit of money in the future. But yes, for today, I'm very happy this one's in my collection. Would I get it again? We'll see by the end. I think it's going to be one of those I'm going to have to try and love a bit more over time. But yeah, it's an interesting fragrance. And if you had it, let me know your thoughts as well. But thank you very much for watching today. I'll catch you later.